we're very excited to have to get started with the second social entrepreneurship event. I'd like to recognize our planning committee members. My name is Anna Brosche, and I'm managing partner of Ennis Pelham and Associates CPAs. We have Dr. Carlton Robinson, Joanne Kazmierski with Jacksport. We also have Yetunde, and I'm just going to say Yetunde. For those of you that know Yetunde, that'll be good enough. And then Dr. Brian McElyea is one of the planning members as well. I want to recognize our elected officials. I think we have one here with us today. Is that Jim Love? Very good. Thank you very much for being here. Also, are there any, Carlton and I came together before the Jacksonville Regional Political Leadership Institute, but really that was the spark behind us coming together and having more focused and deliberate conversations on this topic. Is that because this is up here? Okay. And then, do we have any other PLI graduates here in the room? I think Jeff Evans is here. Very good. Very good. So thank you for being here. SBA representatives, as well as our small business resource providers. We have a lot of small business resource providers. A lot of our chambers of commerce, small business development, or small business resource network here, Nancy. We've got folks, and we appreciate you being here as well. This is to continue the conversation that we had on June 9th, and we promised you then, when we collected all of the input, that we would come back together and provide a report on that which you shared with us. Not everybody was able to make it then, so Carlton will come up soon and give us a recap of some of those report items. Did everybody get a copy of the report that might have been on the table? Might be helpful to pass some of those down the aisle. So not only did we say we were going to deliver a report, we were going to continue conversations regarding the topic of social entrepreneurship, and I want to thank Nancy Boyle with the Small Business Resource Network, who has the Speaking of Business show that she invited Carlton and me to speak on. And then Carlton has been very busy in the last 90 plus days continuing his work in these conversations. And so without further ado, I'd like to invite Carlton up to share some of the key points from our June 9th event and to help set the stage of what we are going to accomplish today. This is about action, and we appreciate you being here to be a part of that action.
Thank you, Anna. Good morning, everybody. Try it one more time. I know we got a lot of space, but I need to hear you guys. Good morning, everybody. Much better, much better, much better. With our elected officials, we did have one other elected official outside of Councilman Jim Love. If we could have Frank Farrell of the A-rated Clay County School District to be recognized, and we give a big round of applause for Frank. And first, I'd like to begin by saying thank you to my friends, family, colleagues, and the sponsors of this event. It takes a lot of courage to try something new. It takes a lot of courage to promote change. It takes a lot of courage to step outside of what we call the sandbox. And that's what we're doing this morning. In terms of social entrepreneurship, I want to make sure that everybody understands my definition, and that the lowest definition is using entrepreneurship or business to impact a social issue. Now, each of us may have a wide range of social issues that are important to us. For some of us, it is going to be education. For me, it's small business, having been involved with the various chambers of commerce. When we take a look at what's happened since the last time we were together, so many of us convened at UNF. We introduced this concept of social entrepreneurship. Some people were extremely excited. A lot of people left saying, I want to get involved, but I don't know how. I really like what you're talking about, but explain it to me again. You know, those types of things. And so I was sharing with Anna and some other people that I've had 117 meetings since June 9th in regards to social entrepreneurship. And I have been busy, but I'm passionate about this, and I think our region is ready to move forward with this. So, individually, some of us are here for different reasons. So some of you are here because you're supportive of someone. So sometimes we show up at events because you say, you know what, I don't really know what it's about, but I believe in that person. And we thank you for that, okay, we do. Some of you are here because you live and work in communities that you would like to change, okay? And then others of you are here because you're a stakeholder in a particular community. All of those are key points when it comes to social entrepreneurship. I'm here to grow social entrepreneurship, hopefully through each and every one of you. So if we take a look at Facebook, I know at least half of you are on Facebook or LinkedIn, and you say some of you have as many as 1,000 friends. I don't know how you manage all those friends. But if we take a look at social entrepreneurship in those terms, if what we have is good, we're going to share that with our friends. So if you went back and you posted something on your Facebook page, how many people would see that? You're communicating to the world something that you think is important. And that's really what we need to do with social entrepreneurship. So how do we grow social entrepreneurship in Northeast Florida? I think that we do that by creating a regional mechanism for social innovation. That means two things. One, we have to help others understand that we can impact social issues in our community through business and entrepreneurship. Two, we have to help others understand that it's okay to leave the sandbox sometimes. It's okay to do that, I promise you. Now, as I stated before, in our June 9th event, we asked two questions. What are the gaps, and what do we do well? And in your reports, there's a lot of information. I'm not going to read over it. But one of the things that I want to share is I had communications with over 1,000 people, okay, via email, Twitter, Facebook, about social entrepreneurship since June 9th. Now, obviously, I didn't have enough time to meet with those people, all right? But there's a great interest. And a lot of it is how do we move forward with social change in our environment. So, but I want to hit on a few key points with the report. On page 4, which would be the colorful page because they're not numbered, you'll see some information from the Brookings Institute. And for those people who know me well, they know I like research and stats. Okay, but sometimes you have to use research and stats to present something new because people, they won't believe you. Somehow it's too new. But if someone has researched the information already and it's a very worthy organization, then the only thing we have to do is interpret and act. So if we look at the information from the Brookings Institute on page 4, you'll find that our metropolitan area is comparable to the national average in almost every area. But there's one glaring area, okay, where we're a little bit below, and that's educational attainment. And educational attainment in many of the entrepreneurship and small business studies is one of the key indicators for small business success. Notice I said one of the key. It's not the key, because otherwise we wouldn't be worried about the stock market, right? There's a lot of smart people running those companies, and some of them are not as successful as we'd like for them to be. But it's a key indicator. So that's one. On page 5, you'll find evidence from the Kauffman Foundation. Now, on June 9th, I talked about the volume of individuals who start businesses who may not have a college degree. A degree is only one indicator. Doesn't mean you're gonna have a successful business or not, just one indicator. But one of the issues that we have is when that group of people goes for assistance, how do we know that they're able to understand and interpret all of the things that we're asking them for in a small business plan? How do we know that? Okay? The answer is we don't. We have this template of how businesses are supposed to develop, irregardless of social standing or how they entered into the small business environment, and then we force them to adjust to whatever that template is at our organization. And we have some great organizations. But one of the things that we have to take a look at on page 5 is people who are, by formal standards, not as educated, have opened, and in most cases closed, businesses at a much faster rate over the last 10 years. So the evidence is there. Education is key to small business. And then if you look on page 6 is actually a summary of our activities from June 9th. So those of you who weren't able to join us, on June 9th, we had these breakout groups. Each table gave input in terms of gaps, in terms of what they thought we did well. And these were the themes that came out of that. Now, there were 3 main areas, and we're gonna have 3 small breakout groups that correspond to each area. One was corporate social responsibility. And for that one, I'm actually going to use a company that I've had a great relationship with over the years, regular meetings. They do a lot in the community, but not a lot of people know all of the different things that they do, and that company is CSX. Another area was education, okay? And there's different aspects of education. Obviously, there's K through 12, but then we also have our academic institutions, which are also important, okay? And how do we work together to have an impact on our social environment? And then the other piece was just community support, which covers a wide range of things. So, as we take a look and we summarize all of those things, and I went through the report in 3 key points, and all of those are visuals for you. But as we take a look at those, what does that mean for our small business environment? So we hear a lot about jobs and more jobs, but the reality is if we don't strengthen our small business community, if we don't make small business resources more accessible, if we don't create an academic environment that spurns entrepreneurship, then we're gonna spend our next 10, 20 years as a community always looking for that next company to relocate to Jacksonville. And relocation can only be one part of the pie. We've got to begin developing our own innovation. We've got to begin sustaining our own businesses. And if we just take a look in terms of numbers, just in terms of numbers, so according to the tax rolls, there are over 135 small businesses in Northeast Florida with 5 or less employees, okay? If we were able to sustain those businesses, if we were able to teach them how to add a half of employee or 1 employee, what would our unemployment rate be in Northeast Florida? It would be very low, okay? Now, obviously that's hypothetical, but it's there if we can just make a dent into that. So what do we want to do today? What do I want you to do today? What am I expecting, okay? What I'm expecting is to build a repository of ideas related to social entrepreneurship in 3 areas that can have an impact on this community. Now, I know most of you, okay? I know most of you, so the follow-up will be easy. Just like everyone follows up with me and says, hey, how's that social entrepreneurship thing going? all right? So it's the follow-up. So what we're expecting is to garner ideas. So we've set the stage, we got input from the community, we developed themes, we got input, now we're gonna have these 3 groups, and we're gonna have some action, okay? And that's really what we're expecting today, to get your ideas. Now, there's one other thing that I'm really proud of this event, okay? This is the first time that I'm able to participate in the event, and I have my Clay County representation as well as Duval County representation. So I'm happy for that. But one of the things that we've worked on in Clay County is trying to get more businesses involved in helping and impacting education. And I think that extends to the region, okay? And I want to close with a couple things. And I have some toys that I'll share in innovation later when we come back as a group. But I want to make sure that everyone's clear. Number one, we do not want to start another nonprofit. We do not want to replicate anything that any of our small business resources are doing. We are promoting innovation, something that doesn't exist right now, okay? I want to make sure we're clear on that. And then as a group, we have 4 main goals that we'd like to achieve. 1, we want to stimulate local economic development through entrepreneurship. 2, we want to utilize the private sector participation for community enhancement and engagement. 3, we want to promote social entrepreneurship by expanding the volume of change agents in the region. And 4, we want to create and sustain diversity in business. And I know this is a different way of doing this, but I promise you, if you just bring the ideas, there are enough companies and organizations in this region to push it forward. Hopefully, I've painted a picture for you that you can reflect on in regards to what our community is capable of in terms of what's happening in our community. But more importantly, it's a picture that will empower you to act today in our small groups. In social entrepreneurship, it's about the quality of the people that are involved. If we have 1,000 people, but the quality is low, we're not going to innovate. We need quality people, and those quality people will help grow social entrepreneurship the right way in our region. And so with that, well, I was about to say, let's get to work, but I think somebody coined that phrase already. But Anna, if you'll come back up, and then we'll go into our breakout groups. Thank you all again for joining us this morning.